P.K. rightly said, when I went to Ghana, I was in Ghana this year for about a month and I was doing quite a lot of research. So I had a conversation with Republic Bank. And then I'm excited because the program they have introduced apparently is already in some countries, but this is mainly for the United States. And they already have it in the UK and in Canada. And I'm now one of their well, their authorized agent for US, and the idea is to help with mortgages. So getting mortgage from the you get approved and qualified here in the US, and then they will give you the funds to buy properties in Ghana. And these are for Ghanaians in the diaspora, right? So sometimes, the question then will come, why do you even want to, why is it important? Now, these are some of the numbers, and I want this presentation to be very simplified. So I'm going to tell you what the program is, and I'm going to go over just some of the high level numbers, and then I'll tell you a story. And that story is really to illustrate why I think getting a mortgage for some, it works if especially if you don't have the cash, is really important. So the reason why this is important for most of us as Ghanaians are some of us that are in the situation like myself, who we know, okay, we want to settle in Ghana sometime in the future. But we know we don't want to spend all of our time in Ghana because we are working in America full time. But the Ghana market, the inflation and how the cost of housing is rising, you are almost forced to jump in immediately. But you also don't want to take a lot of cash and lock it up in Ghana because then you can use it to do business here. So when I understood the mortgage concept and I realized, okay, this might be a good opportunity for people that are ready to retire and getting ready to move, or if you're like me, you just want an investment property just to be there to make money and pay for itself. And then when you are ready to move, you can decide to do whatever you want to do. Or you have a property in Ghana and you really feel like, okay, you've worked at it, but right now financially you are not in a place to keep putting money in there. That property then becomes like you've spent money on it, but you can't finish it. But and so you are stuck in the middle. It's not making you money, but you are here, you don't have the money to finish it. So this is a great program to help you finish it so that you can get to a place where that property can bring you some returns. For example, if you want to buy a home at Feel Good Homes, this can be an option. And the fact that you can get certain amount, 80 up to 80% doesn't mean you have to take all of it. You can take just what you need to get you to a place where you can you don't have to keep stressing about your project. And sending money home in bits is always more costly. That's what we do. Traditionally, most Ghanaians that live in the US send money home in bits. And that can be very costly. But if you're able to finish it one time, then you know the work is done, then you can really focus on other things. So some of the statistics that really feed into what I'm telling you, we have about 83% of Ghanaians in the US that really want to have their own home in Ghana. And, most people, at least that I talk to, always say they would love to be done and retire in Ghana. So through Republic Bank, you can have up to 80% of whatever project you have in Ghana done. And they have different mortgage styles, and I'll explain it. Right now, today, as I talk to you, as I present what I know, their rates are 11.5 if you are in USD and then 14% if you are doing it in Ghana cedi. So what we do here is we handle the entire process for you here in the US so that your transaction doesn't have to be Ghana US kind of conversation. But this is what I want to share a story with you, and this is why this is important for everyone listening to me. I'm going to go through this, make it a very short, and then I would like to take questions. One of the things that we have ignored all of these years is the currency advantage, especially if you're in the US. Of course, it applies to if you're in Canada or the UK. But when you are here, just based on the natural occurrence, I've been here since 2008. Since 2008 is when I've been in the US. Some of you here much, much longer, some of you here not too long. But what we can tell you is if I do a 10-year analysis between 2015 and 2025, which is last year, there's been like a 308% depreciation So I have a true story to really illustrate this. And this happened right because I have friends in Ghana. So one of my friends went and he bought a property. I remember in because I went to Ghana in 2015. And I remember I went when he bought, he was excited. So we stayed at his new place. It was a new building, spent about 150,000 on it. Okay, he bought it for about $150,000. But he took a mortgage in Ghana City. So you saw that the CD mortgage is really high. He took a mortgage in Ghana City. At the time, the CD to the dollar was about 1 USD to 3.8 Ghana CD. Okay. So 150,000, he took a mortgage. So the mortgage was 570,000 Ghana CD. That was how much mortgage he had to take to buy the building. Okay. And the interest rate was actually slightly higher than 14%, but for illustration purposes, I'm using 14% for this exercise, okay? And then the mortgage was a 15-year term. So he had 15 years to pay it, and it was costing him 7,596 Ghana cedi every month. So in USD, he was spending about $2,000 of USD a month. So this was the picture, and this is not a make-up story. This is a true incident that I witnessed. He bought the property for 150,000 USD, paid it in CD, and then had very comparable rates and everything. So this was his payment, 7,596 CD every month. Okay. So what happened? Over the years, and I want you to look at the trajectory, okay? Over the years, he started off in 2015 paying $2,000 or 7,596. The important thing is that 7,596 per month never changed. It stayed the same. It never changed. But in 2015, it was about $2,000. In 2019, it had already come down to $2,374, still 7,596, but because the dollar had started weakening. Okay. In 2022, it was less than 1,000. He was paying $779, still 7,500 Ghana cedi, but much cheaper in USD. In 2025, that payment of 7,596 was now 490 USD. So you can see how the CD stayed the same, but the dollar kept getting stronger. And that has been our history. In fact, if you go all the way back to the 2000s, that rate is even crazy. And most of you will attest to this. And so the cost of the payment kept getting cheaper as the the dollar became stronger against the CD, which has been the trajectory. We are not saying that's going to be the future, but that has been our history for the last many, many years. We've never seen because the American economy is much stronger, much bigger. So just common sense tells us that the American economy is in a much stronger place than Ghana. But of course, anomalies can happen, like what is happening in a World Cup where a small team can beat a big team, like a Ghana can play 0-0 with England. Sometimes those things happen. But in the normal course of things, the American economy is much stronger than the Ghana economy. So you expect the dollar to gain strength against the CD over the years. So after 10 years, it's just mind-boggling, right? Uh, Through the years, as he was making payment, on the 10th year in 2025, which is last year, the outstanding balance on the mortgage, because he took the mortgage in Ghana City, still paying the 7,000, but now it's about $490 a month. The mortgage after 10 years was left with about $340,000. $340,000. That exchanged to be 21,935 USD. So think about it. The house value is still 150,000. But because the dollar has gained so much strength against the CD, the mortgage that was 340,000, that is 340,000 in 2025. That 340,000 was now $21,000. So he ended up paying the building off that year because, when you sign a contract with a mortgage company, they because it's denominated in CD, the rate will stay in CD and nothing changes. So he paid off the entire mortgage 5 years early, ended up spending about 132,000 less than the value of the property itself in the beginning because the dollar gained so much strength. So the value of the building hasn't changed. The value is still $150,000, but the payment, because it was denominated in CD. So even as our economy, as the CD depreciates, one of the interesting thing is the CD is depreciating, but our properties keep standing strong in terms of the cost of our properties. And most of you know that in Ghana, the cost of all our properties is, is stated in USD. So having a mortgage in CD is actually, it's very interesting, but history will tell me that it makes sense to do that. Now, like I said, these are historic numbers, meaning I'm just looking back at a 10-year period. We don't know how the future is going to look like, but if everything stays the same, then you can imagine why it makes sense to one, do your mortgage and do it in CD because at the end of the day, you even already have an upper hand over that. So that begins to tell a different story, right? And so I was very happy when Republic Bank made us know that they can do the mortgages both in Ghana CD and USD. Now, because of the risk factor for the CD, their CD has a higher interest, and then sometimes that can deter people. But based on what I'm looking at, I'm like, this makes sense. 14% and 11% difference can be really, really high. But if history is any way to use to predict the future, then I think it makes sense to do it denominated in CD. Okay, because the moment you lock yourself in, but if the CD never depreciates and it stays strong against the dollar for the next 10 years, then this wouldn't make sense at all. So I hope what I'm explaining is making sense to you all. Like I said, my goal in this presentation really is to simplify everything so that we can ask questions and have a conversation because the product is the product. The qualification and everything is very straightforward, but this analysis is one of the major reasons why, for me, it made sense. I'm like, after looking at the numbers, after seeing it happen, I'm like, okay, it makes some level of sense to actually fund my properties in Ghana with a mortgage. Even though the interest is high, when you look at the trajectory, you may end up having an upper hand. The second thing is it makes the process faster. And then I realized that for me, and I don't know about everyone else, even if I have the cash here, I don't want to take all my cash here and then take it home, if that's even if I have it. But it allows me to also take the cash here and do other things with it without spending all the cash in Ghana. And whilst I live here, I am still working to build a family, so I'm not looking to move to Ghana overnight. But everybody's in a different place. So it's always important to analyze your situation, and then decide on that. But this helps you understand different ways you can leverage your capital and then know how you can work with it. So looking at that, so what the comparison here is what I want to show you. So if I had, let's say 10 years ago, if my friend had taken a USD at 11%, he would have been paying $1,700, which in the beginning is cheaper because you are starting off at $1,900. He would have been paying 1,700, so you'd have been paying cheaper. But then over the 15 years, look at this. The total paid would have been 307,000. That's double the cost of the home. So you would have paid about 307,000 to the bank. And if you did 30 years, it would even be more. But 15 years is so, so, but if you look at the Ghana cedi, because of the depreciation and because of how high the depreciation has been between 2005 and 2020, 2015 and 2025, over the 10-year period, he ended up paying 132,000 for the building, much cheaper than what he would have paid if he had done it in USD. So then that is the kind of comparison and what I'm trying to draw our attention to. But everybody's in a different place. The program is there. If you do the USD, it's cheaper to start off with 11%. Right now, for the past year, we've seen that the cedi has held very strong and steady against the USD. So, the past year has been very good for the cedi. So that means that this analysis, if this stays the same for the next 10 years, that this analysis won't help you. But this is just to give you an idea that if the past 10 years is what we are going to see for the next 10 years, then it actually makes sense to do your mortgage in Ghana cedi. The cost of loan in Ghana has actually gone down. It used to be about 33%. So now that is coming down, it's good. And based on how the economy goes, you can always, refinance and do different things with your mortgage. But currently, this is where the rates are from Republic Bank. So there are 5 program offerings that Republic Bank has. Okay, what I wanted to do in the beginning was to give you a reason why. Now, how Republic Bank helps you buy a home in Ghana, they have 5 different programs that I think you can use. Everybody will find themselves in one of those places, or most people will. The first one is a straightforward one. We know buying a home. You want to buy a home in Ghana, you can just work through them. They can finance up to 80% of the home. They have their own internal valuation system. So they will do that, and then based on the value of the home, they can finance up to 80%. That means you have to put up the 20%, and then they will give you a loan for the 80%. But there are some people that already have built a home in Ghana, and you need cash to do something, or you want to really build another home, or you are trying to start a real estate, whatever your need is. So you want to take money from the home you already have in Ghana. You can use the existing property to do what they call the home equity mortgage. So you take the home that you own, you bring the paperwork, everything, and then based on the evaluation, they can give you a mortgage, an equity mortgage, which means you are getting cash from the bank and using the home as a security for the cash. And so they can give you a home equity mortgage. With the home equity mortgage, there's no need for down payment because the house is already there. You're only getting some of it in equity, which is cash paid to you. Okay. And then you have the home completion mortgage. So it's really an interesting project where some people have already started a home and then they're in the middle. And of course, as I said, sometimes you get to a place where you want to finish it, but the resources to finish it is not there because you're in a different financial situation, or it's taking too long and you are losing out on the opportunities that whatever that project was going to bring to you. You can use the home completion mortgage to get up to 50% of the value of the home to finish it. Okay, so they do that mortgage too. So they'll go, of course, and evaluate the home, especially the current state, and when it's finished, and then get the 50%, and then they will fund that to help you complete your home. And then they have the home improvement mortgage, which is similar to the home completion, but the home improvement is the house is finished, you want to improve upon it. The home completion mortgage, you are building, but you are halfway through or you are not done, and you want to really finish it. So you can do the home completion or the home improvement. Either one is up to 50% of the value of the home. So if you're doing the home completion, the value of the completed home so the estimated completion value, and then they'll get 50%. The home improvement, the current value of the home, 50% of the value, and then you can use that to improve the house. Then there is the build from scratch, where you can do one where you buy the land, build, and then do all of the process. So this one is like you are starting from scratch. You get approval here, they give you an amount of money. And within that amount of money, you can buy land, build it, and everything from scratch all the way up. And it's only done in Ghana City. Okay. So this one, you are here, you are interested in building a home, we can get you pre-qualified based on your income here. The amount that they give you, you can buy land with it, um, get a real estate agent, work with them, and then build the house from scratch. Okay. So like I said, we can go through some questions. This is just for me to go over all of the information with you. So what do they require to get pre-qualified or to get approved? If you have bought a home here in the US, this is very similar. What we do here in my firm, Global Dime Consulting, we help you get through all of this pre-qualification. We do all of the things before we submit your packet to Republic Bank. You have to be a Ghanaian citizen or from Ghana descent, meaning you have to be related to a Ghanaian or be yourself a Ghanaian citizen, right? And then have a valid passport. Remember, it doesn't say US passport. It says valid passport. It's important because you don't have to be a US citizen for this or you're US resident. Just have a valid passport. And then you have to be employed in the United States. You have to have a certain income, either W-2 or business income. We work with both. If it's a W-2, great, it's easier. If it's a business income, then we have to look at your 3-year taxes and all of that. And most of you know I'm an accountant, and I also do taxes, so I kind of understand what is needed in that sense. What I want to let people know is we help with the consultation and everything through this. We work with you all the way from the beginning to the end. And sometimes you may not have everything ready today, but we will work with you until you get to a place where you qualify for whatever you are looking for. So it says minimum income 4,000. This is an estimate because it depends on how much you're looking for. You don't really need a minimum income of 4,000. But what is important is the down payment, which in some cases you need if you're buying a home, and then the debt to income ratio. And then we calculate your debt to income ratio using your credit history. So we will work with you to get your credit report, the annual one from annual credit report, and then just your credit score. We'll use those two things, and then we'll work on your debt to income ratio, and then we'll let you know where you stand and what we need to do to really get you to a place to qualify you for the home. So we work with you to get all of those things in a good place. Okay. So then when all of that is done, then we'll collect some things like proof of residence. Those are not required, but it's good to have on file. Our goal is to get you to a place where everything that is needed will be in a very nice packet. We give it to Republic Bank. We already scored you and got you the pre-approval and all of that, and then they would take over. But we will work with you through the whole process whilst you're working with Republic Bank, and even after you receive the resource, the money for the building, whichever one you pick to go with. So we estimate about 6 to 10 weeks if all your documents are in place, right? Sometimes it takes a little bit to get everything, but it's a pre-qualification process, the document collection, the application, the bank assessment, and then all of the signings of the letters and offer, because you will get an offer letter from the bank. And then when you sign, that is when everything is taken through. Most of this, you need to be working with a real estate agent. Most of the time, not always, most of the time, okay? So we work with you through the process, so I wouldn't even worry about this, but I just want you to know it takes about 6 to 10 weeks, on average, okay? So, we work entirely with Republic Bank, and then we are also their only representation here. So if you want to go to Republic Bank, you gotta come through us. But we also make sure that even though we are exclusive, we are also very professional about the work we do. So we have a whole backend system to make it easy. And because I work in the finance industry, your data is extremely secured. We use only secure system. I do taxes, so we already have the infrastructure in place to make sure that your information is kept with high level of confidence. Nothing is going to get leaked to anybody, and no one will have access unless you have given them explicit permission to be able to have access to your information. So we make sure that that is tight, okay? So we look after you in the process. So we work with all major developers, especially, we have a good relationship with FTRACO, but they are not the only ones we work with. Feel Good Homes, as PK said, so they are right here. We work with them also closely. So we will work with you. We don't worry about the real estate agents. Whichever agent you have will work with you. Our goal is to really get you the money you need to be able to get you to qualify. So everything, starts with very easy. You can call us or you can go to ghanamortgage.com. On the ghanamortgage.com site that we have, what I have done is I've been able to create a tool that can even help you calculate how much interest what it will cost you. And then you can do that in USD and in Ghana City. Um, if you call us, we are not able to pick up within 24 hours, we'll try to return your call. We'll work with you to get you pre-qualified. You have all our information on there, and then we'll make sure that we connect with you as soon as you reach. We've already had a few people reach out to us when I was sharing everything on my WhatsApp page, but as many as need this support services, reach out to us. And one thing I'm very big on is we it's a business, but we also make sure that we always put our clients and customers first. So we are not here to force you into something that is not going to be helpful to you. And we are not going to make any decision for you. What we want to do is if you make a decision, what we can do is to help you make sure you are moving along in the right way, helping you get the right information, guiding you through the process to get you to get the pre-qualification, and then making sure that we explain every step to you. Nothing hidden. I don't like hidden fees and stuff like that. Those who've worked with me on taxes and everything know I'm very big on everything up front. I don't do any hidden information. Everything is upfront, easy, and straightforward. And if you are looking for this service, then please reach out to us. We will love to help you. Ghana is growing, Ghana is developing, and if you really want to have an investment in Ghana, I think this is a good time because right now it's not just Ghanaians abroad, it's everybody. There are so many non-Ghanaians investing in our country at a very fast rate. So this is a time for you to get in and have something. Like I say, if you have an investment property there right now, you can use that investment property to take care of itself. And then when you're ready to go to Ghana, at least you have a foundation, you have something to work with. Because who knows, maybe by the time you're going, the cost of living has gone up so much that it will not be easy to start from scratch. So I think this is a really good time to jump in if you need to, and then try and secure something in Ghana. If you have a vision in the future to relocate back at home, I'll open it up for questions. I promise you I won't be too long. Um, and then we can have a few questions and then we can go through that. So I will let you all. I don't know if there's been question typed, but if you can come back on the PK, and then I'll be happy to go through questions from people.
Hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you, sir.
And I see Feel Good's hand up there. So I have a couple questions, and I'll let Feel Good
Yes.
comes in. And those of you typing your questions too, please do, and I will go ahead and just read them for you.
Mhm.
So I did hear you talk about the rates in terms of how much money percentage wise you can actually borrow. But I'm not sure if I heard you talk about the rates per the city and the rates per the dollar.
Okay. The rate is 80% of the value of the property. That stays the same, whether it's CD or dollar. It's just 80% of the
Yeah,
property.
80% is how much you can get, right? Of the
Mhm.
total amount. But I'm talking
Yes.
about your interest rate.
Oh, yes, the interest rate changes. If you are doing the loan with USD, so for example, if the loan is $150,000, if you want them to give you $150,000 and it's denominated in dollars, the rate is 11%. If you want
Okay.
them to give you the loan in Ghana cedi, which 150,000 would be like 1.5 million Ghana cedi, a little bit over that, then that 1.5 million Ghana cedi will be given to you at 14%.
Okay. So it's 11 and 14.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Feel good. Please unmute yourself. Tell us where you're calling from, and maybe we should get Feel Good also on the show to talk about his
Mhm.
homes right after, shortly after, maybe sometime next month.
And
Feel
then
Good.
I would love to do a one-on-one with Feel Good Home when this is all over. I would like to connect with him directly as well.
Okay.
All
Feel Good.
right. Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. So I have a couple of questions. You mentioned that if you have the money and you want to build in Ghana, you will not take the money and use it. But if I'm taking an interest rate of 11 to 14%, how many more investments would you be doing with the money to gain more than that? I'm just trying to see the value of money and where you put it, right?
That's
Um,
really
so right, so that was just one question.
okay.
Um, the other one on the analogy that
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned about the CD denominated interest rates,
Mm-hmm.
and the person ended up paying 132, saved up on 5 years, and the property was 150.
Mm-hmm.
Just for curiosity, how much did the person put down? I'm just trying to see like how much they really saved, because if they paid 132, then how much they put down versus the property value, then we can really see how much they saved. But that
Well,
was a good one though, about just out of curiosity.
that's good. No, let's use the 20%. Like I said, that is a true. That's one of my very good friends. So I saw the whole progression, but in my analogy, it's not one to one exactly how that is the numbers are close, but I did my analogy based on the current rates, the 11 and the 14%. And then number two, you can use a 20% down.
Mm,
Yes.
okay. Okay. All right. So with the CD calculation that you were doing,
Mhm.
and I think you did mention, so I want to mention that you did mention that it's not like fixed, all things being equal, right? So
Mhm.
I just wanted to know, since this one spans the period of over 10 years, um, when the CD and dollar fight happened around 2025, where the CD dropped from 17 to 10 and all of that, I didn't see that in the graph being affected. But I want to believe that it will have an impact, right?
Yeah, so if you look at the graph, these are all real data. None of this is made up, right?
You're
We
not showing right now.
you're not showing. Okay, I'm showing let me make sure I'm sharing
Yeah,
this.
your screen is not shared right now.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me do it
Yeah.
quickly.
Okay.
So this is real data. Sorry about that. This is
Hmm.
actual data, right? 2015, it started off at 3.8, and then it went to 15.5 in 2025. So based on your question, I'm really looking at the average over the period, right? So I'm not even kind of so if you look at the average over the period, if you at this point, let's say you took out a 1.5 million loan today at 15, and then in the next 10 years, the CD dollar goes in the same trajectory, you would actually be in a much better position having a CD denominated loan than a dollar. So the numbers work however you break it down. That's why I use the percentages and the rate. All of these rates, these are spot rates for each of the year, and they are true. All of this was pulled from the currency market, added in.
No,
Yeah.
Kwame, let me clarify something. I'm not
Yes.
trying to challenge what you said, not at all.
Okay.
Right. No, no, no. I'm not challenging what you said at all. I'm just trying to, in my mind, see
Okay.
how that affected the
The cost.
investor because, of course,
Yeah.
I did. It did impact me so much. So I want to see how it affected that person and then see what I could have done in case it should happen again. That was the only basis for
Yeah.
my question. But actually,
What
this
that
is not the graph I was talking about. I
okay.
was referring to the graph of where the person was paying. Yes, I think this one.
Yeah, so
Is it?
what I'm saying, so this one, right? Remember, it will still have that impact because you are paying 7,500 Ghana cedi,
Mm,
right? That
mm,
7,500 Ghana cedi is going to be 7,500 Ghana cedi the whole time. You know how mortgages work, right? So
mhm,
they quote you 7,500 cedi. That's what you pay every month.
mhm,
So in the year 2025, that we had that sharp drop of the cedi.
mhm,
Um, that drop is still your contract is still 7,500. The seeding
mm,
doesn't change.
mm,
But because you live in the US and your money is made in USD,
mhm,
it costs you now lesser. The more the CD drops, the less money you have to pay off that 7,500.
mhm.
That's
Which is true. And
yeah.
that is why when it went from 3.8 to about 17, right,
Hmm.
you were paying much less in dollars. So now my
Yes,
question is when it also dropped from 17 to 10, how did it affect the payment? Do you get
that
my
is
question?
great. That is great. So
Right.
now when it drops, okay, so that's perfect. So in this case, that's why I was letting everyone know. We know that this 10-year depreciation, of course, is not a straight line. But
Mm-hmm.
the idea is if you cannot control how the market work, even for us to have that 17 going back to 10, and now it's about 12,
Mm-hmm.
that came through a lot of market manipulation on our government side. But what I said was, if you look at the US economy and if you look at Ghana economy, it's impossible to sustain that. So unless there is, and you cannot you can manipulate so much. When you leave the two economies to go through their natural progression, you will see that it will start happening again where the dollar will start gaining strength. Because of course we import more from the from US. We spend more dollars in Ghana than we spend cedi. So we always have a high demand for the dollar. The dollar is more acceptable worldwide. Most people, when they are traveling, they buy dollars. As long as there's a higher demand for the USD, there's going to be the USD is going to be stronger against the cedi. But in off seasons where that happens, yes, I agree with you. It will cost you more. But when I did this illustration, what I said was, you don't know the future. But I'm assuming that because the US economy is much bigger, that there may be a possibility that this trend will keep going. But nobody knows tomorrow. The US market can crash and then all of a sudden the cedi is much stronger. So nobody knows tomorrow. I'm just using historic information to make a projection. So
Right.
this is just
Thank
a
you.
analysis that I'm making based on historic numbers.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much. I think others also do have questions, so I'll end mine here.
Well, let me answer your question. You had asked a question, your first question. Um,
Oh, yeah.
just to go through that. So as I wrote it down. So what I'm saying is, of course, this product only exists, if somebody is looking to do investment and they have they are looking for money. But if I had, this is okay, let me clarify this. This is just me, my thinking. This is not an advice. If I had $150,000 today, cash, and I can choose to between buying a property in Ghana cash or taking this loan to do a property, what I'm telling you is I will buy that property in the US cash. A property in the US for $150,000, maybe get thousand, 2,000, between 1,002 to 2,000 to 2,000. In fact, if you are depending on where you are in the US is different. But a duplex, there are duplexes in the US that will sell between 150 to 200,000. If you can get at least $1,500 a month from 150,000 investment here. I'll take that 1,500, get a mortgage, and pay that 1,500 on the building in Ghana. So I'll have the money invested here and then let the mortgage build in Ghana with the hope that I would buy an investment property. When I went to Ghana last month, just last 2 months, where we stayed, we had to pay in USD. It was a similar property that a friend of mine owned that we lived in, and we are paying in USD through Airbnb. The cost of the revenue he was making was enough to pay, was more than enough to pay the monthly mortgage. So I would invest that money and then let the property in Ghana pay for itself, even though it has a high interest rate. And over the period, as the dollar hopefully strengthens against the CD, I will begin to benefit from that CD depreciation. But if that never happens, prayerfully, even if that never happens, now my money that I'm making here can pay for the mortgage in Ghana. And I think I'll be fine. I'll have two properties. That's my mindset. That's just me.
All right.
All right,
So,
sorry.
um, Abigail came up with a question. Are Canadian documents also eligible?
Yes, Canadians are. There is a different person in Canada that I will be happy to refer you to. But yes, Canadians are, UK citizens are. What you do, if you reach out to us, I'll make sure I'll get you to the right person. But yes, Canadians are. It's just in Canada, there's a different person because every country has their own credit systems and everything. Because I work mainly in the US, I focus on US residents.
Okay. And Abigail A comes back to say, can people use their trusted developers or contractors?
Yes, 100%. So you
And
can
I think
use
that
like,
falls on the points number 5, build your own from
yeah,
scratch. Okay.
yeah.
AB asked, thank you, sir. How much do you charge clients for your service? Can I deal with um, Republic Bank directly?
So first of all, you can, but they'll bounce you back to me because in the US, that's why they have me here to help get the process organized here first. Because remember, Ghana's economy, Ghana's credit rating and everything is different. But working with me, you are essentially working directly with Republic Bank. I'm just helping you go through the process. We have a flat rate of $129 for the application, and we charge that because we have a history of some people starting and never finishing. Also, whatever, when you get approved, all of that money is part of your loan origination fee and everything anyways. So we do charge $129 to get you started here. And that is a one-time fee, and it will take you all the way to the end of the process.
So, if I may ask, why are they starting and not finishing?
Well, it's, I don't know. People have different reasons, right? But what I always tell people is if you don't have to halt the process. Even if let me give you an example. We have somebody that they apply and then their credit is not good enough and they
Okay.
have quite a lot of collections and everything. My goal is okay, we will work with you. You just won't get approval next month. We'll work with you to clear up your credit, get you to a place where your packet looks good for presentation. But sometimes people don't have the patience. But if you are not there yet, we need to work with you to get you to a place where you get a qualification. So that takes time. Or sometimes people will start the process and then, you know, whatever it is, maybe they have a loan or something that they need to adjust their debt to income. And all of that we try to do. Okay, you may have to pay off one or two debts to get your debt to income to be more than 40% so that we can make sure you qualify. Because all of these standards that we have, it's also required by Republic Bank. So we keep that standard. So when we present your packet, it's fully done. We try not to
Okay.
send them anything unless we've qualified you first.
Okay. Simeon asks, does the exchange rate have any effect on the initial interest rate?
No, the interest rate is always determined by the Bank of Ghana, and then the banks kind of follow through. So most of the interest rate is determined within the Ghana economy. And but sometimes I wouldn't say there's indirectly it can. But right now, our interest rates, where it is at now, it always comes from the banking industry in Ghana. So that's where that is determined.
Okay. Clinton said historically, the dollar has always outperformed the CD, but it's still a risk. However, it will be far better to take the mortgage in CD than dollar, since vice versa has caused a lot of people to lose their homes. If you know this is a risk, then you need to have a contingency plan should in case the CD outperform the dollar in the near future. My question, that is his question, is the interest rate for HEM and
Mhm.
HCM still 14% for Ghana cedis and 11% for USD?
Yes.
Basically, one of the across
Yes.
board.
All the products have the same rates. That's correct. That's a very good question. Thank you.
All right. He comes back to say, what happens if someone, if for some reason you are finding it difficult to fulfill your mortgage obligation?
That's a great question. And I will tell
Is that is
you,
that is that like a gap insurance?
not just a gap insurance, that will be, well, with the mortgage obligation, it's more so you still have to, because the gap insurance only comes in when there is an incident that is out of your control, God forbid death or something like that. I don't even know what the gap insurances they have in Ghana. But what I can tell you is if you see something like that happening, and I do financial advising all across. I'm telling you all this. Talk to the bank ahead of time. I have seen somebody, and this is even US and it applies in Ghana too, because they are human beings. One thing that we always make a mistake is we try to run from the banking system. Talk to the bank ahead of time. Let them know what is going on. Because I've seen somebody get a 6-month break from the mortgage in the US and then pick themselves back up and continue paying. The bank's interest is not in trying to force you to do things that you don't have the resource to do. They don't want you to go. They don't want to. The bank is not in the business of selling properties. They don't want to have ownership of your property. They want you to own your property. So if you talk to the bank ahead of time, they always have programs. And of course, all the program comes with some obligations, but it's better than letting your loan lapse. So if that happens, let us know ahead of time. You can reach out to us, and then we will talk to the Republic Bank and then work with you, come up with a game plan, and then make sure we follow through it. But that is not the fact that you're having difficulty doesn't mean your loan process halts. No. I always tell people the bank is not in a business of selling properties. So they don't want your property. They just want to work with you to make sure you pay them back the money they've given you. So yes, just talk to the bank if that happens.
All right. So, one more question that we're gonna call upon Helen Ankara. Simia wants to know if the Republic Bank is based here or it's in Ghana.
Republic Bank is based in Ghana. They are very strong foundation. I think they come from somewhere in the Caribbean, but they are based in Ghana.
Oh, okay. Actually, that's a good question because I was under the impression that it was based here. Um, okay. Helen, please unmute yourself and tell us where you calling from.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Yeah, this is Helen Anchor. I have two questions. One of them, is it the minimum for the 150 or is it a maximum? You can't borrow more than 150?
No, 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 no. 150 was just an example. You can borrow
Just
whatever.
an example.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay. And then the second question that I have is gonna be a group. It's like four sisters that are living in US that are trying to build.
Mhm.
Build in Legon. So we're trying to get a loan together. Is it okay to get a loan together as like a joint loan, or it actually have to
Yes.
be separate?
No, no, no. You can. Joint application is allowed. All of you will
Okay.
be liable. So yeah, all of that is allowed. Sometimes, so normally when that happens, for example, the credit score, they do, the scoring systems are different, but yet the simple answer is yes, that is allowed. We'll talk and then I'll explain how that goes. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's what
All
I
right.
wanted to know. Okay.
Thank you, Helen.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Sheila says, we need to have a Republic Bank account to qualify for the mortgage loan? And if the mortgage loan is for personal use and not for investment purposes, does it influence our chances of getting the loan? Good question.
Good. So you do not need to have a Republic mortgage to get qualified. But the moment you qualify and they are going to disburse the funds, they will require you to create an account. So the question is, you don't need it to start your application and get qualification. But when you qualify and they are starting, they will create an account for you. At Republic Bank, you can have both a CD and a dollar account, and you can use that just to make sure you use it for the mortgage payments. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you do the loan, the investment is just an example that I did. You can use it for your personal property, you can use it for whatever. They don't have any, you can buy an investment property if you want, or buy a they don't care. So you whatever you need to use the money for, as long as it meets their requirement, they are okay. They don't determine how you use the property. That's all up to you. Personal or investment, that's up to you.
Okay. I think that is the last question that we have right here. Um, AB came with another question for HCM. When do you start mortgage payment?
Well, as the day you sign your the moment you sign the offer and then the money is disbursed, the moment the money is disbursed, that's when you start, however you look at it. So for if you're doing a construction, if you start off, normally they give it in phases, right? So when the construction is complete, then they give you the last phase. Then you start making payment, right? But if
Okay.
it's yeah, so most of the time so they are going to give it to you in phases. The only thing I will let you know is that it start accumulating interest. So if they give you 10,000 to buy the land, that 10,000
Okay.
starts to gain interest. Then they give you another 40,000 to, let's say, build a foundation. That also starts to gain interest. Then when they give you the last payment, then you start paying them back. So all of that to keep in mind. But one of the things with construction loan that I always recommend is, if you're going to do a construction loan, then work with a builder that can give you the shortest possible time to finish building, because you don't want to have the money sitting for a long time. So work with a trusted, well verified construction person that can take you from zero to finish at the shortest possible time. So your loans don't, and all these rates are per annum. So if you do that 14% and you build a house within 2, 3 months, as long as they can give you quality build, then you know that you don't accumulate too much debt over the period. So that would be my recommendation on that.
All right.
Um,
Another one from Kinsley. Does HCM use your property as a collateral? If so, why is the interest rate the same as HPM?
so all of this uses your property as collateral. Think about it. The mortgage, the heart of every mortgage is that the property is the collateral. So the rates are all the same because none of the loans are given without a collateral from the property. So if you're doing equity, that is using the property as collateral. If you're doing construction, the same thing. So whichever one you're doing, the property is going to be your collateral. So that doesn't really change, because at the end of the day, you always have the property that is going to hold as a collateral for the bank.
All right. I think I know this answer, but I'll let you still go ahead and answer it.
Mhm.
Ernest wants to know if this program is open to American citizens.
Yes, it is open to American citizens as long as you have a Ghana connection.
What do you mean by Ghana connection?
So it's very loose. So this is for Ghanaians in the diaspora, right?
So,
So
do you need a Ghana card to show that you have a Ghanaian connection?
if you have a Ghana
Or
card and you're Ghanaian, so that one you are good. But let's say
yeah,
you don't even have a Ghana card, but let's say your parent, your
what if
grandfather,
what if
your aunt,
Let's say Ernest is not a Ghanaian, but Ernest is married to a Ghanaian.
you qualify.
Okay.
That's yeah.
So how do you guys verify that? Does he have to bring his marriage certificate or
So the verification is really based on what we say, right? So you just have to be able to establish it based on whatever you tell the bank.
okay?
Mhm.
All right. All right. Any other question? Any other question? We got 15 minutes to wrap up the show. Any other question? I mean, I feel like most of the questions have been asked, but then I would
Mhm.
do encourage each and everyone to actually, embark on this journey. The number is 989-372-5697. And also, let me take this opportunity to actually, Sheila, I'll come and ask you a question for you real quick to actually talk about our sponsors one more time, because when we started, we had a technical difficulty, so we couldn't project their um, um, outlines. So, Feel Good Homes, again, like I said, if you are interested in natural Feel Good Services, let me start off with Feel Good Services. If you have an organization or you're interested to actually have somebody come speak to you or your organization in terms of, anything that has to do with mental health, please reach out to Feel Good Services at Feel Good Services at gmail.com. It always bothers me whenever I have to talk about the company name and the email address. So yes, Feel Good Services, you can find them at feelgoodservices at gmail.com. And also Feel Good Homes, whenever you find yourself in Ghana, Pokwase, East Legon, Nigerian Ghana, and East Legon Hills to be specific, go over there, schedule some time, have a cozy place that you can enjoy yourself with your family, and also all by yourself, and have a quiet time in a good place that have a great security, and free Wi-Fi, and enjoy yourself. Look no further but Feel Good Homes. So Feel Good Homes. Again, the number to Feel Good Homes is um, +1513 372-5758. The number again is +1513 372-5758. 372-5758. Uh, this- and also, tell Feel Good that PK sent you. Before we go to Top Sen, let me get Pat and Associate. Um, so in case you're looking for it to actually download the app, and also make sure that your money is worth getting the right place. Look no further about TapTapSend. TapTapSend is easy, fast, secure, and convenient. Once you download the app, you get $25 on your first transaction, and I get you a bag of rice when you send me a copy of your transaction, so that we can actually proceed with that. Yes. Partner Associates. Yes, I don't know why Partner Associates want to be the final commercial on the show, because Startups and is always the final commercial. But Partner Associates are by the not just about. Please reach out to Partner Associates for all your tax savings, college funds, legal protection, mortgages here in the States, and also smart home security in case you want to set up a small business, insurance, and stuff like that. Transfer of account, and also full-time or part-time businesses. Read them out +1 646 247 4637, or reach them at patriciaeduse@gmail.com, and they will make sure that you are well taken care of. Again, they have a pure protection and a separate investment that you will uh, love it, and you will own it as well. So please reach out to them. All right. With that being said, we're gonna read the three more questions that we have, Nana, and we're gonna wrap it up because we got 11 minutes to
Mhm.
go. IP says, could you please share the number again? Can you please share your screen again?
Okay, so let me share the screen.
All right. The number is +1 989 372 5697. Just in case. And also, Nana, can you please type it in the chat for those who are on Zoom? Those on Facebook and YouTube can have it. We are live on Facebook, HRTV, Tataps and Ghana, and also YouTube, HRETV. So please patronize these two pages for us, and also like, share, and also comment if you have any question over there. And we'll make sure that we also get you the response that you need.
Okay, I
All
shared it.
right. So we're gonna go to the next question. This question is from Nanekia. Nanekia said, I don't know if you answered this already, but do need to be a citizen or permanent resident in the U.S. as a requirement? Nanekia, that was already answered.
Mhm.
It's not a requirement for you to be a U.S. citizen or resident permit, but then you need to have a connection or a tie with Ghana, and that is how you get approved one of the eligibilities. Um, and Nana Kwame, I think you responded to Simeon. Kinsley said, "Does the code PK works for existing users?" Kinsley, you my type of guy. I wish it does. I'll probably be using it myself too. Smart question, Kinsley. You tried. No, just for first time users. And even with the first time users, this is the trick. If you sign up, okay, and you went ahead and sent money, you can go back and put in the promo code because you already used that. So you have, once you sign up, before you send your first transaction, make sure you put in the promo code to get that. So Kinsley, please tell your cousin, your sister, your brother, or your mom or dad who haven't used, whoever is eligible in your capacity, tell them so that they can use that promo code. And maybe when they use it and you send me a screenshot, you will get a bag of rice and enjoy.
And PK, even for, I think it makes sense for our application because I did it for taxes. For our application, we could use the PKAY just like that as a promo code for a 20% discount for the application process.
Oh,
Just application
nice.
fee yeah.
So just to keep it uniform, just make it P-KAY.
P-KAY. Okay.
Yes.
We'll
So
make it
anybody that
P-KAY and I'll
comes
put that
with
in.
that
So
promo code, please guys reach out and just get your promo your discount. If he doesn't give you the discount, call me. I will call him.
yes.
I like calling him 1 a.m. in the evening to wake him up. So and I bet you he'll still be up even working. So if he doesn't give you the the discount, please let me know. But yeah, thank you very much, Nana Kwame. We are grateful for your time. Oh, we were about to sign up, Sheila came with a message. Again, we still have 7 minutes, so I'll go ahead and read Sheila's messages. She says, "Is there a financial payment plan available if one is having financial difficulties or not able to make the monthly payment? Perhaps a waiver, deductible, or some discount?" I think he answered that when somebody asked if you cannot meet your obligation of paying your mortgage. But I'll let Nana Kwame go ahead and type that again one more time.
Yes, so I'll, like PK rightly said. So the plan is if you let the bank know ahead of time, because every situation is different, they would listen to your situation and work on something with you. The bank's interest is to make sure that they create a system for you to be able to pay and then own your home independently. So if there's something going on that you need help with, reach out to the bank ahead of time, work with them, and then they can come up with a way to help you get through that. So yes, but that will all depend on how early you reach out and how we work with the bank to make sure that they know and understand your situation. I always tell you, the moment you work through us, we will hold your hands through every situation. We'll become like your middle people between you and the bank, and we'll make sure all of that works for you.
All right. Thank you. Nana, God bless you. A class, can you please sign out Nana Kwame for us? Nana, while A class is come, do you have any final words that you wanna
Well,
say?
thank you all for listening. I'm really looking forward to helping as many people as I can, especially in Ghana, make use of this opportunity with respect to the mortgages. There is a really big growth happening in Ghana. I know you guys see, not just in Accra, all over the country. And there is a lot of influx. In fact, there's so many people buying that are not from Ghana, Nigeria, all of the neighboring countries, because of the peace and serenity that our country provides. Other Africans are trooping in. And so there's a projection that our real estate and our cost of living is going to keep going higher. So getting in now always helps secure a spot, even if you don't plan to go to Ghana until in the future. So it's a strategic move to try and have an investment in Ghana now, and then you can build on that. But I'm always happy to help you with questions as a financial advisor and somebody that helps people with finances. I also look out for your interest. That's one thing that is I'm big on. So, as we talk, I'm not going to make decisions for you, but I'm going to make sure I provide you all the support you need all the way through to the end of your application process. So thank you, and I appreciate you all engaging with me
All
tonight.
right. Thank you. A class.
Yes, abusuafo na Nana Kwame Aken na Nana, thank you very much for your time, your efforts, and your in-depth education on the Amayeno. Eventually, say if you are here, you can hear me. Please grab his number from the chat room or from the Facebook and YouTube. Call him for any assistance, and he will gladly help you out there. Don't sit down there in the diaspora thinking that all is latest. The 9 to 5 in the year sometimes is good, but the sidekicks and the side hustles really, really, really helps as well. So take good use of it, grab it, and you'll be a great testimony to Nana vision as well. Thank you very much, Ebusan, for Nana. Yamin Shobium. Keep
Be
on.
sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we draw the curtains for tonight's show, Time with Tatapsen, owning a home in Ghana, and also a unique mortgage program. And this was presented by our very own AKOWUAH, financial analyst and advisor. And also, next week, we will be meeting with African Global Consults, and we'll be dealing with the relocating to Africa. And this kind of go hand in hand with what we just talked about today. Like I said, next month we will be looking forward to see if we can bring Feel Good Homes on to talk to us also about owning a home as well in Ghana. God bless you all.